Ray.
God.
We are recording.
Start off strong.
Starting off strong. Alright, we're back. It's been a while. But we are going to do some chill storytelling this episode of Adventures Kindling D&D podcast. We got started up since, we have some people that are gone and other people that are here. Ash, I DM, I play. It's great. Next. Put on the list.
Oh no, what order's the list?
A list. Make a list in your head.
I guess we can go down the VC. Wow, thanks. No, hello, name is Saf.
Hi, Saf.
I played Hi, Scout.
D&D Addicts Anonymous.
Oh no.
I played D&D. I'm a D&D player. Yeah, I think that's. I don't know. I said what I said in the previous episodes.
Yeah, I DM, I play. Boom, let's go.
That is true. I played, I DM. That's it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Alright, DC net list. Nora.
You know what? If I'm up at 6 a.m. to talk about D&D, I probably need D&D Addicts Anonymous. So, hi, my name is Nora.
Welcome. Thank you for waking up at 6 a.m.
Hi, Nora.
Hello. I've been a D&D addict for, what year is it? 2 years? 3 years?
Lego.
I DM and I play, and it's a good game. Thank you. Also, hello, welcome. Yeah, D&D's fun.
Hello.
Nice.
It's a good time.
Indeed it is.
We're joined by a color.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hi, color.
How y'all doing?
How do you feel? We're literally just intro right now, just like small, like, hey, I'm this.
Hey, good timing. I got it perfectly.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to introduce myself?
Yeah, you can just say your name and anything, honestly.
British.
British.
I happen to be off color. I'm color, and I've been a D&D addict for the past year or so. And
Hi, color.
I never hi. And I never DM as of yet.
Tomorrow.
I'm gonna be a new woman. But I do want to at some point. I just need to learn.
Hell yeah.
I think I need to
Good time.
be better.
We love
Yeah.
that.
I'm here to listen to the masters.
We love growth.
Yeah. Or at D&D Addicts Anonymous, we're all about growth. Meg, you're up.
Is this what the podcast is called?
If we're anonymous, why are
It's a
we?
good name. I actually
Why are
like
we introducing ourselves?
If we're anonymous, why are we giving names?
Well, they don't have to be real
the
names, maybe.
safe space.
Turns out none of us are. These are all our fake names.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it
What's your
is
big name?
in the case for me. Question mark.
I could go back to going by Liara.
Yeah, you can.
But
Whoa.
yeah, that's about it. I like to play women, not in the mean way.
Wait, what? Can you like?
In D&D, not in real life.
In D&D, I like to play women. In real life, I'm much of a nerd, so I don't play women.
This is getting a little sussy.
Wow.
You have Soju, Bonnie's a Scout Strong. It's
Oh my gosh.
I'm
at
not.
that point.
I'm
I
not.
got a migraine.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Everyone's feeling the
We're
symptoms.
vibing.
We're vibing.
Over the summer, when we're all in similar time zones, we can have a
Yeah.
Party.
D&D podcast.
Drunk D&D.
Meg, keep us on track. You're up.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Meg.
Hi,
Hi,
Meg.
I've been playing D&D for a little over a year now. I am pretty much casual D&D person. I draw. I do that a lot. I do a lot of D&D drawings. And that is all.
Nice.
We love a D&D artist.
Hell
Nice to meet you, Meg.
Can this be a new
Nice
intro?
to meet you, Seth.
yeah. I finish this off, Scout.
I'm Scout. Hi, Scout.
Hi, Scout.
Hey, no, doing it yourself.
I play D&D.
Nice. All right. Well, I will bring this first or third meeting of D&D Addicts Anonymous to its beginning. We're storytelling, and to clarify and give us a bit of a direction, it can be both like stories you've had and happened to you, or just storytelling in general, right? Maybe themes you've liked and how they've been applied to your own games, right? And how like that made for a good, bad moment, right? But yeah, this is like a chill back to it, and so we can just basically talk about whatever. Does anyone have a fun story they would like to share?
Oh, boy.
Otherwise, we could roll a d5. And,
Oh no.
D6.
well,
D5,
d6 per person,
D6.
d5 for theme, and then if
Uh-huh.
someone has one, otherwise then we'll go
I
for it.
do have a story to tell.
Yes,
I
let's go.
just raised my hand out of habit. I'm sorry, guys. You didn't see that.
This is a Zoom meeting, guys.
Oh, I'm
There's a
sorry.
hand feature.
You gotta press the raise hand button. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna at some
Sorry,
point,
Professor.
Student. Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna get like a D&D character for you guys that'll raise its hand when your mic lights up. Boom. That's on the
Oh,
list.
that's cute.
Oh.
Okay, so it's my story, right?
Yes.
So recently we played a 3-part one-shot called No Quarter.
Oh,
And yeah,
Yeah, I think we
um,
were. Yeah, I wonder what it was about.
so I just think that I think the whole party contributed a lot to like backstory and like writing a lot, and I just felt so much more engaged in the story. And like when we actually played, having all this like stuff behind us and like putting in like like little things or like little memes, I guess, or like inside jokes, it just made the whole experience so much better. And like just story building itself, it adds so much more to this character rather than just being a sheet of paper with some numbers on it. And that's just, I think it's in general just the storytelling aspect of D&D that I really like.
Yeah. Like, and for some context, we actually had a month after character creation until we actually played the first session. So you guys were already running with text RP or just like discussing interconnections that whole month. And so like it was great as a DM also to see you guys so engaged on your own to like figure out connections and figure out what your characters really like.
Yeah, I didn't expect like. Also, sorry, Meg, I never replied to ours. Thanks for
Oh.
making it.
No, that's
Um,
all right. Take your time.
But I did not expect like doing the talking so much and doing the text RP beforehand to help. But it really did. Like that's the most like fun I feel like RP moments I've had as a player. And I feel like all of our characters like had their dynamics already. It was really nice.
It's nice because you don't have that much time to actually be in your character's shoes because a session lasts, only so many hours. It lets you
Right.
really feel it out beforehand. But I'm a huge fan of text RP. I'm so glad doing it. I've tried to push it on like other groups I've run for, other groups I've played with, and it just doesn't always stick. It really depends on both like if you want to roleplay more versus want to know your characters. Let's talk about any of the text RP moments in general, stand out to you guys. Like, well, like this was the best part. This was hilarious. That shit was like I can't forget it. It can even be a detail in the backstory.
I was gonna say, for me, text RP, even though I love like reading and stuff, writing really isn't my forte per se. Even when it comes to like backstory writing, I struggle a little bit because I can just like get lost in so many ideas and stuff, and then I easily get distracted too. So it's a little bit more difficult to keep track of sometimes. such an amazing like conversations that are happening in the channel. So I understand when it comes to like other people not really sticking to it too much, because I myself I feel like I'm not too much of an text RP person. But on the contrary, I feel very comfortable improvising on the spot
Mm,
when it comes to talking, and I feel like maybe I might not be too good at it, but I just feel comfortable, and I feel like I can get in character more easily than sometimes overthinking it.
yeah.
I don't know if that makes
No,
sense,
I
but
think you do a great job of improving, decisions about your character. I can
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
I can speak
Yeah, I
to.
feel like that.
Oh, sorry, go for it.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like that showed really well in game, like because even though I think like B and Crag didn't, and No Quarter specifically, for example, like B and Crag didn't have any connection before the game, but like the whole thing with Gen was really funny, where like
Yeah.
you were talking, because for context, Crag has a familiar named Gen, and like even though B and Crag had like not talked at this point at all, like B was just over there like spilling all their secrets to his familiar, and so now they have like that weird connection, and it's just really funny to me.
That's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
That was like a
Like
great
without
moment.
without really talking to Craig, my character, um, they really just like spill all of the information towards their familiar, so so inevitably everything that I said to the familiar obviously was received by by her character. So it's like it was really funny at the moment.
You guys
You got
both
the B gossip.
made very cool characters, but they're more like they're types of characters that would keep to themselves. And so that was a great decision, in the moment to be like, yeah, like if they both have Gen who they talk to, and one of them hears all the other side of the drama.
Yeah, they don't talk to each other nor to other people about feelings or anything, but then out of nowhere there comes a bird, and the bird knows more about these humans than they know about each other.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I
Emotional
love the idea
support.
that Gen just like
Yep.
just goes around collecting ship gossip. She knows everything that's going down.
I love those little things in our characters. Like it's very like cheesy, corny, comedic stuff, but I find it awesome. I feel like it really adds flavor to not just our characters, but to the game itself. Just those like random moments.
What's an example off the top of your head of like a time, those random moments or cheesy thing about your character you've liked, Scout?
Oh no, I'm on the spot.
Yeah. Putting your drunk ass on the spot.
Oh no. Well, my characters are all very spontaneous and I don't plan ahead very much. So sometimes we just get like random chaotic moments, especially with like Key or Davy. And I don't know, those moments, even though I can't think of one right now, they stand out to me.
One moment I actually want to say is I really liked about Davy, and I want to make sure because I don't want you to feel bad about this. I love the fact that Davy didn't remember all the mission stuff. I was like, this is so good.
So
It's a
good.
character. He didn't ask any of the prudent questions, and he was just like, yeah, this old guy is kind of hot, and I'm just gonna take it when he's telling me.
Classic.
Yeah.
Like that was very good. That was completely fine and fits perfectly.
I feel like I'm never gonna be able to forget that.
I also love the fact that you also are the note taker. Just like, I love it.
There's been a lot of gaps in the notes lately.
That's fine. You're still taking it, but I'm like,
Yes,
damn.
their notes.
Yeah.
That's the effort that matters.
Okay, cheese has holes and it's still tasty, so you're fine.
What?
Huh.
That's a good one.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't like cheese.
Oh,
Cheese hater.
the lactose
Yeah,
intolerant people are crying.
Anyways.
Yeah, I do feel like No Quarter had a lot of good moments. That was just a really fun game.
It's
Yep.
just a very like a crew of like very interesting people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the first time I've played just like a pretty weird character. I really enjoyed it. Crag's just a little dude.
Really?
He's a little guy.
I think
She's a
I
little
think it
guy.
was I think it was really great that we all had like very different personalities, like almost conflicting in a way, but not like no character was like gonna kill each other or anything.
Yeah.
But, like Crag is like this weird kind of grumpy doc,
Mhm.
and then we have like the ship captain who can't do shit. And then like Dante, the mom of the group,
Desperately trying to hold it together.
and then Kamiya and B are like the emos.
So this is a really good storytelling advice too, because yeah, like all your characters like had something attaching them to a party, which they can have their
Yeah.
own motivations, their own things happening, but like once you find out, okay, this is what attaches me to the party, you're able to role play their strengths and weaknesses and like their aspects a lot more, right? Like maybe,
Yeah, not having to worry about like
Mhm.
conflict and convincing each other to like stay together was like really fun. We could all just kind of
Yeah.
chill.
and then you can act a little, like do things that are maybe a little dangerous to the crew, but you know in the back of your head you're always with the crew on the crew side of things. Like, Craggle was one of the conversations we've had because he is an evil character, right? He's very self-motivated on what he wants to do, but there's things that still keeps him tethered to, things like Gen, things like even Kamiya, who, he had to keep taking care of, and just in general, like he didn't at the very end, right? He didn't take the offer because he was like, like, oh yeah, I won't. Like, why didn't you take the offer? What do you think was going through his head?
I mean, I feel like he's got this kind of like, he kind of thinks that Davey's a fool
Yeah.
because he is. I love Davey, but at the same time, like well, for one, the offer was kind of coming from the church, and he's not a fan. But also, like, I think as much as he's like, he's not good. Like, he is evil, and he would, just murder somebody if that benefited him. Like, Davey and Dante both have kind of provided him like shelter and what he needs, and he's kind of gotten this like begrudging, like he's loyal to them even if he is off doing his own thing. And I feel like he's like grown to appreciate his place on the ship, and so I don't think he would give that up easily. So even though as people he doesn't like interact with them that much, or like definitely doesn't act like he likes them, even if maybe he does a little bit, like he appreciates them. And I also feel like as like in character moments for him, like I think to like, for example, when the watcher thing attacked B, so,
Your
She's dying.
your beep boop.
Oh no! Here, wait, let me go on
You're
data.
back.
There, okay. Cell data. But yeah, when B got attacked by his new buddy, the evil, creepy watcher thing, like, as a player, I would never consider, like, him turning against the party. I mean, I joked about it, but, like, I feel like the moments that he had, like, between Gen and B and everything kind of helped that, like, there was another connection between, like, him and the rest of the party that stopped him from doing something dumb, like, trying to murder everyone.
I think evil characters are played very well if you play them smart, to think like, okay, yeah, this is, you don't want to turn the party just because of moral reasons, but also it's a bad situation. But also, right, like he does seem to like B enough, like through what he's heard with Gen.
Yeah, he's probably, I feel like, I don't know how B would take it, but he probably seems like he's scared of them, but really he's just really embarrassed because of all of the stuff that he's heard.
I think B will be very intrigued by your character. I think Craig intrigues them in a way. And I think it in also kind of like voyeuristic kind of way. They also know that They also know that you can hear Craig's, Gen's thoughts. So
Oh.
maybe they like the one-sided conversation that they have going on.
Just having a chat.
They'll. Ged's like a confession booth at church.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to
gosh.
see the crag behind the
And
screen.
you're the pastor that listens to my sense.
The little anti-church necromancer guy.
Let's go.
Oh, that's so funny.
Good stuff. He would definitely be too awkward to like be like, hey, please don't do that. Like, I don't want to know. He
Yeah.
would just be like, okay, hi, this is my life now.
What about the rest of you? What are your, like, since we're talking about No Quarter, we have the No Quarter crew. What have been like very fun moments for you in that adventure?
There was this one moment. I guess it wasn't fun, but more like a nice, touching roleplay moment where
Hmm.
I had Davey like at the end of the game. I had Davey play music from Yushin for Kamiya.
Hmm.
Since she's like far from home, and I thought it'd be like a nice way to, I guess, quell some homesickness. But that was like a kind of spontaneous decision. I mean, I thought about it before I actually said it for a bit, and I like kept repeating it in my head because I didn't want to like forget it.
Yeah.
Like I really wanted to get that in before we ended the game.
Yeah, that was really nice. That's nice. Because we've been always building to the point of like, Davey doesn't realize Kamiya thinks she's a slave. Kamiya thinks Davey thinks of her as a slave. How
Yeah.
You actually resolved that, and it was with a very nice, cherry on the top.
Yeah, and like going back to the thing with the text RP, like I don't know if we would have like developed that sort of weird misunderstanding thing going on if we didn't have the text RP to begin with. Because that's kind of where the idea developed from. Like I don't think I would have like sat down and talked to Saf about our characters' backstories if it wasn't for the text RP.
Like,
Yeah, I think as a player and as the character, I found it very touching. It was very nice.
especially after she just killed a bunch of people.
That was great. That was one of my favorite moments. Our friend Ishao, just
like
destroying
ship's
everything.
blender.
Hmm.
A little blender, walking blender.
Do we just have him now? Is he hanging out with us?
Hell no, he hates y'all. But he comes if
Damn.
you guys try to call him.
He's around.
He hates everything. That'd be
He
great.
woke up on the wrong side of the seabed.
Oh.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. I'll say one of my favorite moments while I was DMing was I got to try some new stuff. And so that second session, I got to try out like horror themes, which was a lot of fun for me because I wanted to, like, for horror, you have to be really immersive. It's all about the atmosphere. It's all about just the tension and the feeling. Because in horror, you can't just go killing people willy-nilly, especially in D&D. And so it's about just that experience and flowing. And so I know I was brainstorming ways of like, okay, can I move this mob around your screen with you just seeing glimpses? Can I put a smoke layer on top? What can I do? And so I had a lot of fun story-wise trying to employ themes of horror in that one little segment.
I really enjoyed that. Like, I also like that we touched on so many different things. Like, No Quarter was fun and it was funny, but it was also like we had those like serious RP moments and like a little bit of horror, and the town was spooky. Like, I thought we were gonna die for sure with that dude just crawling around. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of like tense moments in No Quarter. With the whole thing with the ship in the storm. Where we had to like
oh yeah, oh my gosh, the skill
Oh,
checks
God.
are
that's
so
nerve-wracking.
I've heard from each of you like that was more stressful than I realized. I'm like, damn. Good.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
I did
God,
not
it
think
was
we were gonna
awesome.
make it at the end. Like,
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Like I don't think I've ever been that uncertain about my character's livingness.
Your
Except
survival?
yeah.
Living this. Coming to terms with the mortality of her character is kind of like a little bit stressful, especially when it happens in the first like
The first session.
few hours of the session. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was like the last half of the session, right? Because that was our like first part was role play, getting everyone's character, and then the second part was that
Yeah,
storm.
you're right.
oh, yeah.
No. But, like
Out of curiosity, could we have done anything with the that one guy who was in the corner who talked to B?
That was
Yeah.
I can definitely say that was a sort of like world-wise side quest sort of opening up, like other one-shot idea, because that was a character in the first one-shot I ever ran on this continent.
Mm-hmm.
And so his agenda is very much, I can say this because it's in the VOD. He had a tiefling lover who was like killed by the church.
Yeah.
And so he went on to destroy that whole town that had turned the tiefling in. And then has been, trying to keep out of the church's eye until something more was discovered in the one shot. And now he's joined up with the tiefling sort of rebels to try and free tieflings.
Well,
Oh, that's really cool.
letting you know that V will definitely join
Yeah.
that the Tiefling Rebels band, gang, whatever it's called.
Yeah, and so I put him
I
in.
was actually interested in like asking about that.
Yeah, I put him in there because I wanted to bring that as a topic
That's
and
good.
idea for like, hey, a one shot at some point for like, tiefling
I'm down.
rescue operation.
Return of no
I
quarter.
mean, we could
We're gonna
theoretically
get a
destroy the
divorce.
church.
They
No quarter session 4. Let's go. I'll see you next week.
the Tiefling version.
We'll
We're
have
all
to
gonna be
see.
Tieflings.
'Cause, yeah, no quarter crew can come back, and that's a one shot that can bring other characters back as well. You guys could,
William.
bring back
Oh
the
my goodness.
Sheeta crew. I could also ask
Duty.
the other party that had been involved with that character that invited you.
Dope.
Oh,
Do a little
that's a big party.
crossover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm down.
And so like there's a bunch of ideas running through my head. I like the idea of like, creating these quests within other adventures so you have something to look forward to.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
love that about
cool.
like, yeah, it's so cool about all of us happening in the same world and like not just one long campaign, but also doing one shots because there's like so much fun stuff going on at the same time.
I remember I think someone's staff was probably talking about like, Dav, while we're doing this, they're doing that. Does that mean if we do this, they're fucked?
Yes, destroy the
I was
world.
talking
Wow.
about that.
And candy.
No more K&D session 2, season 2.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
this is not.
breaking news. It's like breaking news. Giant like sea monster wrecks all of like the entire island. Sorry,
Yeah, how do
go
you
on.
guys get your news? You can get a
Oh.
little. People are talking about it in a town somewhere.
You see it looming in the distance, like a little, like a giant, like shadow. It kind of you see it kind of like the Loch Ness. It just pops in and out.
Oh,
Maybe-
it's going again.
Maybe Cordelia gets glimpses or like visions of B.
She doesn't get visions. This is when she gets visions.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
She has her bee tingling sensations. So her
Vidar.
bee her.
The sea has been calling her back, considering the vision you saw of your mom.
That's true.
Mhm.
It's always calling her.
I think of that Moana song, no matter, where you go. You always find yourself at the sea.
Yeah, that's Cordelia.
Fish girl.
No, who hasn't said anything? Saf, what's a good story? Go for it.
From No Quarter?
Either, yeah. No Quarter, Can Dread, anything else?
Cite your sources.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. There's a lot of moments that I like. So I can't really choose one in particular. Because I don't know, especially with this group, there's a lot of narrative story building that can be done, and that's really nice, I think.
Is there anything
it just makes for really good moments
you really enjoyed that you built ahead of time that you got to see, like, in practice during a session?
Not particularly, I think. I mean, for No Quarter, I really liked the moment when Kamiya realized, oh, yeah, she wasn't really exactly a slave. Hey, that was really nice. There was like all the characters kind of came together to sort of establish that and get the facts straight, which was honestly really cool. Yeah, I think, I don't know, another thing that I can think of right now, not related to 5e. I'm actually thinking of JV, because the moment between Jim and Ray, where they kind of talked about the wallet and how Ray needed to stay to find May was, and like Jim offering to help. I don't know. I felt like that was also really kind of heartfelt. It kind of showed that even though Jim is like a 660 something year old, was it 666? I don't remember. It was probably that.
666.
Iconic.
Nice.
Yeah. Even if they were 666 years old and like the epitome of apathy, he would still help out Ray if he had the chance. I don't know. That was really nice. I really liked that.
I really like that moment too. I like the idea of Jim and Ray being good friends that don't actually ever really talk to each other, but like they have an understanding. And so it was a nice way to see that, actually in action. What'd you think, Meg?
I just feel like there has to be, you can't, I don't know, for me, I feel like every character needs to have a hole somewhere in their heart, but not like in the sense of like anatomically, but I feel like
Jim got staked through the heart.
There's always an exception. Like I've yet to build a character where they're just full on like no apathy, like full, like they're just a concrete block at that point, like I feel like they have to have like human in them at least.
Yeah.
Or not in the sense human, but like humanity.
Yeah.
Something they care about, right? Something they would make out of. They would make like decisions they don't usually make.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun because I was always like, whenever you step into a new character like I did with Ray, you're never exactly sure how to play them. But in those moments with Jim and like the May thing was huge for me, just because, like, for Ray, I was just like, he's probably he's not good at talking to people, but with Jim, he's been around long enough, and he's been like, at first he was begrudging, but now he just has someone he can trust, and so it was nice to have a character that I'm like, yes, Ray would definitely talk to Jim about this.
For sure.
Definitely excited, like, going forward to see our characters in JV, like, get to interact more, because I feel like even though we all kind of knew each other in the beginning, like, characters knew each other at the beginning of the game, it was a lot more, like, loose connections than in No Quarter, and so I feel like we're building them in-game more.
I like, for instance, with, I'm blanking, Nora, on your character's name. Fuck. Nightly.
Oh, Nightly.
It's like with Lara. No, that was something you mentioned. Knightley. It was interesting because Ray and Knightley don't know each other at all, but they have been like a bit more like compared to Susie and Hank, right? They're like, huh, okay. And so that one scene when we actually went back to the cells and Knightley chased after Ray, I was like, that was really nice for me to like see where those characters' dynamic is.
Yeah, it's fun to see, like, because I definitely wasn't sure going into the game, like, how they would interact at all. Especially because Knightley I'm still figuring out a little bit. Like, I haven't done a ton of backstory work for her, so that was fun for me, also getting to, like, do some character stuff.
Yeah. I love character dynamics. It's nice to see exactly what the relationships are and how they settle into them.
Definitely. Oh yeah, this isn't JV or no quarter, but when the thing about like at the very end, Davey playing the song reminded me of like it's nice at the end of games to be able to kind of have like wrap up character stuff, especially for one shots, because I think one of my favorite like moments that we've all had is when I was DMing Sadea and like you guys at the very end got to do like with Ari specifically, you got a chance finally to do like your little character reveal, which was super fun because I loved that concept so much. And so was it was it Borum that you were talking to?
At the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a conversation with Borum where I was like, he was like inviting me or I was inviting them to like some, I have a friend you could talk to. They're like very knowledgeable. I like those like ending scenes that leave a thread that continues on.
Definitely, yeah, because then it's like, oh, that's like a thing in the future of Imaldra. I do really want to run more Imaldra stuff, and so it's like, oh, these characters are like out there.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite parts about like running something that's an ongoing same world, right? These characters still live, they have their lives, they're more than just someone said, a sheet of paper.
Makes up that.
Yeah.
I especially love for JV how we all have like these loose connections between our characters, and most of us did like some degree of RP, text RP. So we already had like established like the general sense of how our characters would interact with one another. But then in game we get to like actually flesh it out more.
Yeah. We're put in this moment on the spot, and that just helps us. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Like there's a lot more to the dynamics than just like a stereotype relationship type of deal, I guess.
Our little Halloween party. Like a zombie, a werewolf, a vampire, a psychic, and
a MILF.
Something else.
A MILF.
Half orc, half elf. It's just having a time.
Yes.
Plot twist, we dress
You're
up
your
as
own category.
people.
I aspire to be like Susie.
Happy late MILF day.
Thank you. I'm glad you didn't forget.
Oh, speaking of Susie.
Susie, yeah, what about her?
Oh, no, go.
So many stories.
Susie is such a like a expression of my crazy side. It's such a like a advent character for me, but not in like the dramatic way, but more like I just can say whatever the fuck I think about at that point. And you know what? It's okay because she doesn't make sense most of the time.
I love that.
So there's a lot
So
of
much
freedom
fun.
when it comes to Susie. I love her. I love her. I really do. And I Saf can tell you, I thought that she was gonna partake in a one shot. So I have no thought. I had no thought behind her. Like,
Yeah.
I found out like one day before the campaign started that wasn't gonna be a one shot, and I was like, oh, so I literally made a troll, like a troll character for a multiple session campaign.
But it worked out, and she's a lot more complex than what you first designed her as.
Yeah, I think
Like
so.
an onion.
Yeah.
She's
Oh no.
Oh no.
green too.
Yeah.
Fucking
She's green.
Shrek.
Seriously.
We're talking about onions.
We always go back to onions. Is it always Shrek? It has always been.
Oh my god.
But I will say, like, that last moment Ray had with Susie was so good. I had so much fun. Just because
Yeah, go ahead.
watching
Please
from
refresh.
Ray's eyes at first, right? Susie just seemed like, a crazy woman you'd pass on the street. I'd be like, okay, I should just avoid this. Or,
Yeah.
like, having to be with her for long is like, okay, she's off her rocker. We're just going to roll with it and try and deal with it as we go. It's not our job to try and fix this. We're just going to use the tools we have to get out of this prison. But that conversation we had was like, oh shit, that was like, because it was about both of their backstories, and that you were talking about how Susie had gone to medical school and had like been, very good student and blah blah blah, but then accident.
Yeah, exactly.
And that
Things
related
happen.
not only to me, IRL, but also to Ray's character, who never went to medical school because his parents had told him he should, and he just like revolted from that. And he was just like, damn, this is someone that walked a similar sort of life, and this is who I could have, been like. And he's like, Susie's a very different character in his eyes now than she was like literally a few minutes ago.
And you know what's funny? It's that I didn't create like literally, as I said before, it's like I didn't had any thought behind her, right? So her backstory was written in like probably 5 minutes, and I just had like I just wrote whatever came to my mind at that point. Like once I started like thinking about it, I was like, yeah, and then this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and it just like snowballed into this complex character. And the funniest thing to me is that we ended up with two very similar backstories of the two of us, but with completely different characters. Like Susie is just like living her best life. Like she's not like apologizing for who she really is, and even though she was a completely different person before the accident, she still enjoys the freedom that comes with her insanity, or people thinking that she's insane, because she's actually very smart. She's just she doesn't have a filter. She's just like,
Like Ray sees in Susie like actually like an ideal now, because he ran away instead of like trying to work hard, right? Where Susie worked hard, got there, and then something really shitty happened, but she's still smiling. And so she is like an enigma to him, right? Like, how is this possible? How can she be happy after she tried so hard and then like life took it away?
Yeah. I think for me it was in a way very easy to fall into that pattern with her in particular, because funnily enough, I feel like there's a sense of freedom that everyone has once you let go of expectations that other people have on you, and I can relate quite a lot with that. Like I struggle with it quite a lot, me as like color, right? But I feel like with Susie, and the reason that kind of allows me to think in that way is because of like, it's like
You get to take on
she's
her
just free.
perspective.
She's just being her. Like before, she was more confined than she is right now. That's what where her happiness kind of lies. Is that she found her freedom in her milfism.
That's why.
Milfism liberates you, people. That's the lesson to be learning.
And weird as it is a good lesson, right? You can learn from the strengths of your characters, even if you yourself struggle with it.
Yeah.
By the way, it was her birthday 3 days ago.
Yeah, happy birthday, Susie.
Happy
birthday,
The way
Susie.
you wrote his birthday.
It's
on
Yeah,
Mother's
it's
International
Day?
Milk
MILF
Day.
Day.
Oh, Milk.
Everyone, most of the people here I have recorded their birthdays or the characters' birthdays. Jim's is on Halloween. Benny's,
It's like Christmas or Christmas Eve.
it's Christmas, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then
You all put your birthdays
Sus-
on holidays.
Susie's on
Well,
Milk
Milk
Day.
Day.
I don't know if it's a holiday per se.
It's
I
Susie
think
would
it's
disagree.
a-
National
now.
Milk Day.
It's a
Yeah.
national
Yep.
holiday.
Yeah,
Please
it is.
respect it.
Celebrate your local MILFs in the area.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I will.
Did I give Knightley a birthday?
I don't know. I might have to check. I don't think you did.
I don't think I did. Alright, what's a good holiday?
All of the themes.
For
April 1st.
Nightly,
National Emo
Psychic
Day.
Day.
National Emo Day. Yeah.
Psychic Day is
Hey,
August
MCR got back
7th.
together. Oh, it's on the 7th?
August 7th is Psychic Day, apparently.
Oh,
Oh.
I should be a Leo just like me.
Yeah.
Alright, that's Knightley's birthday now.
Okay.
Fantastic.
What about you, Ray?
I'm fucking up holidays.
April 1st.
Zombie holiday.
You first?
Easter because you came back to life.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god. Are you Jesus? Are you the Jesus?
Jesus.
Does he have two birthdays then? Like the day he was born and the day
Oh,
he came
yeah.
back?
Yeah, I guess you can do that.
So April 1st and then Easter.
April 1st.
Wait. Wouldn't it be Christmas and Easter?
Yeah, but
Oh,
Christmas
Wait, he's on
is
Jesus.
already-
We're not gonna make him Jesus.
It's too late.
Could be. Can my next
National
D&D character
Doctor's Day is
Jesus?
March 30th.
What about
Oh.
National Zombie Day? Is there such a
National. I don't know. I might have to look that up. World Zombie Day is October 13th.
thing? That's like it. Oh, what about October 31st?
That's Jim.
That's Jim's.
Oh,
Wait a
you're
second.
Share a birthday.
You can share a birthday.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
That'd be cute.
Why is
What if
Urban Dictionary says National Zombie Day is July 7th? Why?
that's
Maybe
lame?
because of Walking Dead.
Happy birthday, Nora.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be.
Surprise, I'm a
Happy
zombie.
birthday.
Oh my god.
Is that your birthday?
Yeah.
We'll say he was born on the 13th and then he got resurrected on National Doctor's Day. Yes.
Good
Born
stuff.
on. Wait, so birthday is
October
October 13th?
Yes, that was the
Okay.
zombie day. So he
Okay.
was always destined to become a zombie. And then
You know, I know
I like
this
the
this
reversal.
conversation isn't about like character creation
hmm,
per se, but I feel like an interesting way to find out more about your character when you don't have any idea where to start. It could be like their astrology sign,
hmm,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
because there's a lot of descriptions that come with it, right? You don't
Mhm.
necessarily need to
Figure out the
believe or
personality.
not, but I feel like it's a good guide, right? I don't know.
you find
like
a
a
I
personality
never thought of
trait.
that.
Hmm.
That's fun.
Okay, so what's Davy's star sign?
Yeah, for all the characters who are. Does a.
The Fool. Wait,
What?
Wait,
We
that's
can't run out.
Davey gives off Aries
that's
vibes.
Aries.
Aries.
we should do tarot card readings.
I love the Fool.
Oh my
The
gosh,
Fool is
for our
one of my
characters.
favorites.
Oh,
Oh, what tarot card is no quarter?
Let me see. There's a lot of like at least
Is it just
27.
Major Arcana?
Could be.
Yeah.
Are you also flipping them upside down or no?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I think it went
That's
well
exciting.
for a bunch of like weirdos that didn't know what to do with themselves. I feel like
Yeah.
it is very much not upside
weirdo.
down.
Yeah.
who are you calling a weirdo?
You fool.
Can't deny it.
Wow. Fool is free spirit. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Davey.
Yeah.
all my characters.
Oh,
It's therapy. When
Yeah,
you're
there
so
you go.
caged in by life, all your characters become bumbling idiots who are chaotic.
Or emo.
Susie is the Empress.
Oh
Upright,
yeah.
it
Yes.
means motherhood, fertility.
Let's
Oh my
go.
God.
Oh wait, I haven't discussed Susie's fertility yet. I mean, she technically broke her entire body, so
Oh my god.
Oh.
but she
For
does
the
have a baby.
Spirit.
She does have an adopted baby, so
Color, for the sake of everything, I will say that she is fertile. She has been
she's
blessed.
the most fertile. Let's make her like extra fertile.
She's
She,
always
she was
I
blessed.
feel like this won't come up in game.
She was blessed by Jamie Lee Curtis. I think you know what that means.
Oh my god.
Oh,
It means that she's gonna have triplets like every time.
I guess there's one way to find out.
Oh no,
Oh.
Hank!
Oh no.
Like,
Hank
you know,
has a wife.
they just clip out of her. That's
Yeah.
how well she is.
Ew. I don't like where
Alright.
this
Okay.
conversation's
We're
going.
trying to make the wife part of the adventure.
Well, you guys
What
never
happened to
talk to
D&D
Hank, so
stories?
I guess you'll never know.
What does that mean?
What?
I mean,
What?
you guys haven't talked to Hank yet.
Val?
You guys
What
don't know
are
his
you
story yet.
implying?
That
I
Hank
don't
is
know.
evil and we should kill him.
I don't know.
I
I am
know.
down.
Thank you, Vivian Knightley.
My
I am
Hey,
down to
I'm
kill
just
Hank.
saying.
Anyway.
Benny's very disgusted by Hank.
You guys gave him
no take.
Crocs on socks, and I don't know. I am very.
Love him. It's my little meow meow. Stop this slander.
Oh god.
Oh gosh.
Wait, isn't outfit just overalls without the shirt?
Oh no.
Maybe. Who knows?
No, he has overalls. No, he has like overalls and a shirt. Oh my god.
He doesn't. I don't think I drew a shirt for him.
You didn't draw a shirt for him?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's Hank.
That makes it even better.
Oh no. What have I done?
You know what's funny? We're like doing the podcast, and if someone
Yeah.
listens to it without any context, they had no idea what we're talking
This
about.
is great.
Watch the
Yeah.
JV videos.
Yeah, we
They're
watch
crazy.
every single one of our
Maybe.
games.
There you go. Spend hours.
Easy.
Yeah.
I'm very
Good
excited
stuff.
to see where you guys will end up next session.
Oh
Pretty
boy.
good.
I will say.
Oh yeah, I was speaking.
Mhm.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it. You go.
I was gonna change the subject. So.
Yeah, go. Change the subject.
Oh well, I was just gonna say. Speaking of the podcast that we're supposed to be talking about, I was gonna ask because I know a lot of us have played games together, or have because I think Color, Bonnie, and Meg, did you guys all start D&D together? But or around the same time. But I know
Yeah.
Saf and Ash, you guys have played other games. I was just curious if you have any stories that we haven't heard that were fun.
Fun.
But also the rest of you too. I just don't know what other games you've played. So
Oh man,
it's a question for everyone.
I.
You
So
can go ahead,
Saf?
Bonnie.
Sav DM'd me and Meg's first D&D game.
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was so okay. So my first ever D&D game, right? I was so nervous that never mind. You don't need to know about that part.
Okay.
Now I want to
Did you
know.
drink?
no. You read the entire PHP, basically, trying to figure
Yeah,
out
I
the
did.
rules.
But you
I
got it
did.
down.
I figured out even my fucking inventory carry weight. I was very meticulous about my
gosh.
first character.
Damn.
But no, that wasn't. Never mind. But I was so nervous that during the you meet in a tavern phase, when Meg's character and my character are meeting up, her character approached my dude who's this very gentle but dumb half orc. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Meg, but I think Meg's character tried to pet my pet frog, right? And then
said hi and you like showed your frog out. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's cute. Can I pet it?
Yeah. And then and then like I didn't know how to react because I was nervous, so I just hissed at her. And it was
Oh my
really
God.
out of place and random.
I remember that.
That's perfect.
That's a great
I
one.
love it.
Your
I
soul
remember
switched totally to his.
I remember cringing a lot too when I started playing with you guys, because before the times that I played were very much like very minimum, like maybe like one shots that didn't really end, and then there was like a attempt of like another session that didn't really start because of, you know, organization difficult, and it had depended on other people. So I really didn't have much of a I didn't really have much of like an experience besides like kind of knowing where to look at. And I remember, I think I've told this story before, but I remember that my first character that I played with and it was like a parallel session with the campaign that Scout just talked about. Uh, I don't remember my character very much, except for the fact that they had anger issues, and I was like, how the fuck am I gonna am I gonna do this, right?
Mhm.
And it ended up happening that they were performing or trying to perform
Oh, I heard this. I
with
love
an
this.
instrument, right? And this was like with no experience at all, with much experience at all, really, with role playing or anything. And they attempted to play their instrument, and then they rolled a natural one. So I was like, okay, this is an very angry character. How are they gonna react? And they basically just completely destroy their own instrument,
Oh my God.
right? They just smashed it on the floor and started like smashing it, even though there was literally just like a string that came out. So it wasn't even like destroyed at all. There was just like a mishap. And then nobody really reacted much besides Seth. So I felt very stupid doing that. But now that I look back at it, it's like, yeah, I stood very much in character, because that was very good for like my
That's-
first.
Yeah, that's an awesome
Yeah,
roleplay
It was
moment.
very good, yeah.
Like a
I
lot
love
of
that.
times, new players shy away from failing, but like it's a lot of fun when you take that failure and run with it, and that's exactly like, damn, that's awesome that you did that one of your first sessions.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
delivery
that's
wasn't the
fine.
best, but I tried.
I think you did really great, Color. That was one of the highlights of my night.
But I felt like very awkward because everyone was a newbie as well, so I felt like I was doing way too much, and nobody really did roleplay much anyways.
You lead by
Oh.
example, right? And everyone else is also nervous, so doing something that
Yeah.
pushes you from your comfort zone,
Yeah,
that's like it's very good.
yeah. I try to do
Absolutely.
things that make me nervous most of the time. So I think that's why I don't cringe as much as I used to.
Yeah. We've all had our awkward moments, and it's the strength is like being able to revel in it sometimes, especially in some place like D&D where like it's okay if my character's weird.
Yep,
I
that's
love
fun.
being weird.
Yeah.
It's better that way.
Yeah.
Nora asked,
Saf was. Oh, go
Hey,
ahead.
what's up?
I just couldn't remember if your first game was with Cryon or not. Was that, or if you played a one shot?
Yeah, my first game was with Cryon. Not.
Okay.
I don't remember any other. Or there was. Okay. There was. This was something. Okay, so this was back. I actually played one, like, really crappy round of D&D back when I was like an early senior year. And there was a kid, like probably like middle school, like 11, 12 years old, who I played D&D, and he was like, "Y'all want to play?" And I was like, "I mean, sure, why not?" It was fun. It was like December, and I was tired, and I was like, "Sure." He gave me a pre-made character sheet, It was like an elvish dude, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna play, because I heard the rumors, I'm gonna play chaotic evil. I made all the characters drunk, and I killed them all.
What?
Oh my gosh. What?
Yep.
You were
Wow,
that
what a
player.
start to your D&D
Wait,
career.
where was this? What's the context? Was it like with a bunch of kids, you said, or just one kid?
It was just
You murdered a
this,
bunch of
there was
kids
this one kid who just like was like, hey, you want to play D&D to a couple of like other students there, and then
I
a
would
couple of my
hate you.
colleagues.
I
Oh,
would
you scarred those kids
absolutely
forever.
hate you.
Yeah, but it was like it wasn't like serious, and it was like I told the kid, hey, I'm gonna play like a chaotic evil, like I'm not gonna there's no like chains on my wrist. This is gonna be completely chaotic. And I was like, sure, go ahead, because this is gonna last like 10 minutes. I was like, bet.
Oh, okay. It was like
So
literally just
then-
an impromptu. Like, hey, let's
Yeah.
RP.
Yeah, it wasn't too much. But then I don't remember. Yeah, I only remember getting people drunk and then killing them.
Holy shit.
Because that was. But then
Note to self: don't take alcohol from Seth.
Yep.
it just depends on what character I make. I don't know. There's a whole story behind it, but that was kind of my brief introduction to D&D, but then I forgot about it until I got into it with my cursed druid, and oh, that reminds me of there was one time when the party was within like a hall of statues, and there was like a door at the end. Cryon tried to open it, and the DM told me, hey, you're now cursed with the fundamental flaw of I disagree with everybody, which was amazing. And I was like, and then Bella, who was Nora's character, got the same exact
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I tried to open it.
and it was a time because we both disagree with each other, and that was probably the first time I actually like got into like role playing that situation, because before then I had no idea what I was doing besides like taming a whole Commodon. So then yeah, I thought that was really fun actually. Like I really liked that. Like it wasn't. I don't know if it was actually a legitimate curse, but like from the PHP. But it was actually really fun to like have that sort of personality thing to go off of, and then play that into the character. And then there's arguments and there's roleplay, and it was pretty good. That's what I
That was fun.
remember.
And the rest of the party, didn't know what was going on either because he DM'd us. So like he told us to
privately
it.
told us, yeah. That
Like,
was so.
snap, they hate
it was
each
so
other.
funny.
Everyone
Yeah,
else is thinking, like, these guys will not stop arguing.
Yeah, but I was also the one who was saving her ass, so it's okay.
Nella had some problems. I would love to revisit that character because she was a rogue, and my character before her was a very buff paladin who was very much a frontliner. And I just didn't like switch my playstyle, and so Nella would always like go first. And like technically she's supposed to get to the door first to check for traps, but she's not supposed to go through the door first because she is very squishy. And so there were quite a few times where I would like open a door and then just get wrecked immediately.
But she learned her
I would like have her
lesson.
charge into battle. It's like you can't do that.
Makes me wonder, like what it would be like to play a game where two party members just constantly beef with each other.
Ooh, that reminds me.
Wanna try
That
it?
could be fun. Yeah,
I
let's
feel
go.
like with this group that
Let's
would
do
work.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you beef with me like every day already.
Yeah, I actually had there's another party a real life D&D thing that I was in. Most of our characters were evil characters, and they all came from this like thieving background, this criminal background. I was playing a tiefling rogue at the time, and there was one character who was actually good. Like he was a Leonin paladin.
Oh.
Not paladin, blood hunter. I don't remember. I think it was blood hunter, but he was the one who was actually kind of the moral compass of the group. We met for the first time, and immediately things started kind of going downhill because we started like doing our own stuff because we started stealing from each other, and like arguing with each other, and it was, I don't know, it was chaotic in a sense, and I remember what ended up happening at the end of that first session was somebody burned down a tree and was being chased after guards. My character decided to get distracted by a hot guy and went off with him. And then the rest of the party tried to get answers out of a missing persons incident, but got out not much. And yeah, that was kind of the thing that I had with I think that was the most that I had with like conflict between party, which wasn't like too bad because but it did kind of lead nowhere because of how individualistic every character was, and it sort of kind of led to kind of a not necessarily a dead end, but kind of it kind of scattered to a lot of different places so that it couldn't really reach a unified point of destination.
I think party conflict is a very cool tool to employ, but like we've mentioned before, one of the major things you need to stand against it is like that tether, something that keeps you human, keeps you attached to the story, the characters around you. And so you can act like a dick sometimes if that's your character thing, right? But you want to make sure you're still like your cause aligns with the parties.
I think Krag is just a really good example of that. Just
saying Krag's a dick.
Yes.
I mean, no, I'm not saying Krag is. No,
he's a dick sometimes. Yeah, why not?
I mean,
be proud of it.
He can be rude. He's nice. He's also a nice lizard.
Yeah.
The lizard wizard.
Like I'm sure there were times when Krag acted like a dick, and that's perfectly fine because that would could be a grumpy day or something.
Definitely. A grumpy life.
But because he can be a dick sometimes, that's when those moments that he's actually very nice even stand out more.
Yeah, Krag was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
I was thinking that Krag is like a very good evil character.
He was a very good evil character.
Evil characters are fun, and I'm excited whenever a player wants to try playing one, but I love having to make sure I have a conversation because I know there's sometimes it can go poorly, but other times it can go really well because it should be an option. It just, some people, like, it's hard to
take it
navigate.
a little too far. Yeah. Like my party of evil characters.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think talking about it beforehand really helped because, like, I don't know if I would have really had a direction for Krag, but, like, you gave me some good advice, especially about the, like, having a moral compass for him thing. That I think, like, helped me play him as, like, a member of the party and not just some little guy in his room.
Yeah, because it's more fun to both be an evil character and still, like, have those interactions with the party, both good and bad, because, you're not fully evil.
Right, exactly.
I remember when we talked about evil characters in general, I had played an evil character recently-ish, and I played a cleric who followed an undead deity, and basically I played very much like a, plague doctor character, who was neutral evil and very just focused on their, the undead and trying to figure out the undead more so. But my way of, dealing with the evilness of their character was that, one, they're very logical in that they're going to use the party, right? And so they want the party to turn out okay. They don't want harm to come to the party. And two, I worked with another character in that party to be like, hey, could our characters have known each other beforehand? And can you, like, they looked to each other for advice. And so we made a backstory where we literally grew up together. We were childhood friends. And the other character knew my character before she became evil. And so it became a way to where, like, my character knew he was like, or she was like making decisions that, not everyone would accept. But that's why it has a moral compass in their childhood friend, that if they ever, go too far, the childhood friend will reel them back.
Yeah, I think it's evil characters are interesting because, like, in case of like certain evil characters, they're driven by their own interests, but like certain interests like are the reasons why they would like help out the party, and it would aid the party in that certain method. Like my character, for example, she would act on her own interest, but because she had a friend of hers who needed help, and she would do anything to kind of get to resolve that, she was sticking with the party and aiding the party, even though, she, went off on her own and had her shenanigans. It still helped the party in a way, and it worked out, question mark. It helped her, and it helped her relieve stress, and it helped the party get across the bridge, and it's a happy ending for everybody.
Nice. I did want to tell one story. This is a story of an evil character. It's also kind of a horror story because this could have gone bad. And this is one thing to kind of a warning, because even if you play an evil character and you have a plan for them, right? There's certain things that you might do without realizing because you're in their mind space. And I remember I played my character Kane, right? She was a lot more visceral and blunt to like calling people out, because like, why would you act this way? It's not logical. And there was a time this actually made some beef out of character.
Oh no.
Because we had a monk in the party, and this was Pathfinder 2e, by the way, and so there's a door in front of us. And the monk was trying to punch down the door to get through. We had come from D&D 5e and hadn't played Pathfinder before. Pathfinder, the way it works is, when you have resistance, that means you take X less damage, right? And so door had resistance against physical, meaning the monk wasn't actually doing any damage, but we didn't know that as players, right? And so we thought, okay, we're just doing very little damage. So he just kept banging on the door. This door was in a bookstore that we had broken into, and the door's wide open. And we're like, guards are gonna come. So we're like, okay, we should leave. But before we did that, monk kept trying to break down the door, getting frustrated. A guard shows up, and we're like, okay, let's talk. Here's the thing. We think the person that lives here is evil, right? And the monk, the player, I think was a little frustrated, right? Out of character. And in character, because the guards were sort of accosting us, and because of something else that happened earlier, the monk punched the guard. And so this was very bad, because this is a town that we need for this adventure, so we're about to be run out of town if it goes this way. My character was like, why did you do that? That was idiotic. And I feel bad about this, but this character they were playing was a young kid. And they had always mentioned that they learned a lot from their teacher. My character, in her backstory, had been a grade school teacher. And so this kind of, brought memories of it and said, you must have had a very bad teacher then. And that started some beef, because the next thing was they would start punching me.
Oof.
And so we literally had to stop the session there because, we didn't want actual PvP happening. But yeah, that was an example of like both roleplay going too far to the sense like, okay, I need to check base with the player as well and not just the character.
Mm-hmm.
That is scary.
Yeah.
I've heard I've been getting recommendations of horror stories
Mm-hmm.
in campaigns. And oh my goodness, there's always it's either the totalitarian DM that just kills out of spite, for whatever reason, for whatever beef they have with the actual players, and there's always or there's like the random player that just joined and wanted to like change about just about everything in the story, and it's a mess. Like it's difficult, really, and I am very thankful that I actually my first sessions were my first like dabbling with the D&D was actually with a group that like I feel like we all get along amongst each other.
I agree.
Well,
I'm very thankful to be playing with you
Well-
guys.
Yes.
This is a very good group, and I appreciate a lot of you. I feel like, not gonna lie, there was an incident that happened amidst my first time DMing. There were two incidents actually. Not necessarily within. One was within the game. One was a little after. But there were red flags that I probably should have watched for. But yeah, like there was one, and Color. This was actually in your game. There was a dude who
Oh yeah. Ooh.
yeah, there was a dude who wanted to play, and he played. There was a little bit of red flag, so he started using the Google. You guys know the text to speech, like the lady voice. He started using that in the session, which was honestly iffy. And if he had problems like speaking, I asked to like mention it, and he didn't, and it definitely slowed down the game, which was a red flag, kind of. Well, not necessarily a red flag, but it was kind of iffy. And I thought,
Also,
but I like.
sorry for interrupting, but also,
Yeah, go ahead.
wasn't it like most of us thought that the guy was a girl at the time? At least for me.
Oh, I don't know. I knew him as a guy, if I remember correctly, but he said some stuff after the game that kind of made us go, yeah, no, no. Which is a whole nother can of worm on its own. It was terrible. Yeah, there was also the second time where there was a player who had some D&D experience. She was playing a sorcerer, a variant human sorcerer, with Megan Scout, and she made it to make her goal to flirt with every NPC that I had made. The problem that came up was that I based off the NPCs off of actual people, which made it a lot more uncomfortable than it probably should have been. And it reached a point where it like continued after the game, and it had to be moderated, and it was iffy, and admittedly it was some part on my fault because I had no experience, and I had no idea, and I had kind of no idea what I was doing. But yeah, it was an experience as a DM to witness that, and I fully intend on not doing that and not making those same mistakes again. But yeah, that's kind of a horror story that I had as a DM. As a player, there was a whole campaign that was pretty much a horror story, just like a horror novel.
Well,
but hey, you do what you can.
that is one thing that, like, and maybe that's a topic for another time, but, like, I think, and I've been lucky enough in D&D that I've only had a couple of, like, uncomfortable experiences like that, but, like, I feel like I've heard a fair number of people, and at least from in my experience, like, when uncomfortable situations happen like that, a lot of, like, it's really hard to know how to deal with them the first time and also times after that, because, like, sometimes it's just like, oh, I guess I'm going along with it, like, and then you almost don't realize later, and it's like, oh, actually, that was, like, an uncomfortable situation. Like, I had that a little bit with Nella sometimes, where, and I know, like, why it happened, but, like, in the game, I was like, oh, haha, that's funny, but, like, the DM, like, sometimes, like, made kind of flirty comments about my character, and I was like just brushed it off. But then like later I was like, ooh, I really don't like this. But like that's something that I feel like a lot of people haven't like learned how to deal with in D&D, because we don't really talk about like safety tools and stuff that much. And I feel like this group, we've done that a little bit. Like we've had the like lines and veils thing, but I feel like in a lot of groups that like it doesn't come up until it's a problem, or it just never comes up.
Yeah, it's
Like,
hard to
there
talk
are
about
a lot
it
of
in the
conversations around it.
moment because players, right? You're in the headspace of your character, and so you're kind of in the space to just go with the flow already, and so you can't stop to think, wait, was that weird? It was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And then as the DM, right, you don't want to like you feel like you should do something, but you don't know how, and so it gets hard. I think as the one advice I would give, because I've had some scenarios like that where my players were definitely like getting out of hand, and I knew I should be the one to do something, but I didn't know. I just, okay, let's stop and talk, right? You just come out of character to give everyone some time in their own heads again to be like, okay, what's happening? Do I actually want what's happening to continue? It was very good for when a friend of mine, for instance, in that scenario with the monk and me fighting, right, just did that, and I was like, wait, yeah, you're right. Like I don't need to act like my character right now. I want everyone here to have a good time.
Yeah, I feel like it's really like good to keep in mind that it's okay to stop the session
Yeah.
and like just call a pause. That's okay. Yay, D&D horror stories. Good
All of,
times.
all
Or
of those,
novella.
all of those make me very grateful to have this group.
For real.
Yeah, like
Definitely.
I think everyone here like understands each other very well and like understands each other's boundaries. Um, I don't like I can't recall at any point somebody like, or at least for myself, if somebody like made me uncomfortable, at least not like deliberately.
Yeah, and I can appreciate. Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say I can appreciate that, like, because I feel like we are pretty, like, I don't know, like I feel like we've had a good dynamic in this group. Then we can get to more like do sessions that include like horror or stuff like that, and it's not uncomfortable
Doesn't
because
overstep
we
anything.
can have a conversation about it.
I also think that one really interesting tool that we had was, at least with the sessions with Ash, and I think you also implemented this, Saf. I don't recall quite well, but there was like a form, like kind of like a Google form that we needed to fill up with our boundaries in a way. And
Yeah.
I remember finding that quite interesting because I was like, oh, it's just a silly little game. What is this, right? Why are we talking about, these deep, complex stories? But then, I mean, we're all adults, and our characters, most of us, we're portraying adults, right? So it's like, especially when it comes to like pirates, it will not be weird to talk about sexual experiences or drugs or a bunch of other things that are just normal things in the adult world. Like, so I understood once I filled it up, because even then there were some things that I would rather not have to talk about in our campaign. And it made me way more comfortable because in the end I knew that my DM Ash knew that I wouldn't want to talk about that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've always found like D&D's, even if you don't realize it at first, is a very vulnerable experience because you put your like headspace in someone else, and then at the same time you're interacting with other people that aren't acting like they themselves usually would. So it's at least comforting to know that, okay, you're all on the same page, right? Because any mistake or like miscommunication happens when someone doesn't realize, oh, the person that's sitting next to me or the person that's actually alive on the other side of the screen might feel uncomfortable.
I think it's just always good to get people's boundaries straight because you never know what might come up in the campaign. And you want to at least try to plan around it if you know that it makes someone else uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, it's an experience that we all want to enjoy. And like as a DM and as a player, I don't want anyone to be uncomfortable with anything I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My hope is always to create a safe enough space that you can let yourself be vulnerable, right? And to do that, you need to be okay with, respecting other people's boundaries and knowing that they'll respect yours.
That being said, I still haven't had my fade to black moment, and I'm waiting for it. I still have my
Okay.
D&D virginity.
You need to start
Hey,
like
bud.
actively flirting, you know. That's something
Oh, I guess
that's
you're
something
right.
that's something that you have to agree with another player to, I think.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh no, what have you done? Oh no.
You planted a seed
Oh no.
that eventually will sow.
If something happens, y'all, I am so terribly sorry.
Well, everything will happen consensual. Oh.
Like
right.
Susie or Cordelia or any like B, I'm just sorry.
Well, the thing is, it's interesting to realize that starting with a character, I think I have like an overall like kind of like a idea of what their sexuality is, but then once I start playing them and start forming their values and how they see life, I guess I tend to align them. And this might not be like important, but then I am someone that really enjoys romantic stories, right? I really like the most cliche book. I really enjoy reading it. I like cringy stuff. So naturally, I would like to have romantic like romantic like interactions in D&D. That's why I even created a romantic storyline kind of between my two main characters, right? But I also feel like sometimes I have an idea of where their interests are gonna be, and then it just shifts completely once I'm settled with a personality, and I just find it interesting how the character builds itself sometimes, you know,
I think
depending on
that's true
whatever,
for
right?
like any aspect of the character, not just romance, right? Like you learn more each time you play them. And just like, damn, I didn't realize they would think this way, but they do.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my first character that I ever played into D&D, right? I didn't have any like really RP in my mind, but I still like wrote a backstory because that was a lot of fun. But I didn't know what it meant to actually like live that backstory. And so like at first it was like, okay, it was fun to act like, okay, my character had an angsty backstory. I was like, okay, so they're gonna be a bit more muted. They're gonna be like more like not expecting people to be nice to them and whatnot. And then there got to a point where like someone actually made him mad, right? And in the back of my head after the session, I was like, huh. So my character was a guy, that character was a guy. What if my character is gay? That would be... And this character he doesn't like, this NPC he does not like. But what if I... It's like hate shipping, you know? I was like, huh.
Oh my god.
You know,
Enemies to
hatred,
lovers.
Enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
Hatred is such a strong feeling that sometimes you just need to like hate a little to love a lot.
So, like, my inner fanfic mind was just like going off like, huh, wait, could this be a thing?
Oh yes, that's my shit.
I do agree. The romance is a very interesting genre and aspect in D&D that's hard to employ, and usually you need people you're comfortable with, right? And then you have to do a lot of talking like out of board. Like for instance, Critical Role is an example, right? The first people that tried that, Liam, Marisha, right? Liam did a lot of talking out of board that we never see on screen because he went to Matt, talked to him, say like, hey, could this be a thing we tried? Because he was a big theater guy, right? He's a huge theater guy, and he wanted to think of his character more in depth. And slowly, even though everyone else was giggling on the table, right? He showed that, yeah, you can have romance in D&D.
Yeah, it's like a character you're playing. And you know what's interesting? I was watching, and I'm gonna try to not be spoilery if anyone still hasn't watched that like campaign 2. But I was watching an interview between two of the players from Critical Role, and they were talking about how, and they're not together obviously in real life, but they're talking about how even though obviously it's just a role that you're playing or a character that you're playing, that you're interestingly, it's like you are bound to that character in a way that so much that one of the girls was saying, yeah, I look at like a fan art of our characters together and I get like flustered, like I get flustered and I get like there's like heart palpitations because it makes me very happy that they're happy together, even though me as a human being and like this other person as a human being, we're not together. We're like, it's like we're kids being married, those kind of thing.
Aw.
That's a
And
good way of putting
yeah,
it.
That's really cute.
yeah, and I find it very appealing to do that with friends that you really trust, even if they're not. Like I just feel like it's just such a interesting dynamic and something that doesn't necessarily have to lead to romance between the players, but it's like, I don't know, it's like I like romance. The idea of romance is so nice, and the fact that you can just be a character and be enamored with someone else as a character is just, I love it.
I think I really like the way it was said, right? Like you have your kids, getting together. You could be happy for them, right? Like sharing in that happiness doesn't mean you yourself feel any romantic inclinations. You're just like you being very happy for a friend, being very happy for your kids when they get married. That's the same feeling, and that's I really like the way that's it understandable now.
Yeah. I feel like the girls who I was friends with in middle school who we fake married at a school sleepover.
Wait,
We
did
had
that
a wedding
happen
for
to
them.
you?
Yeah, we had a fake wedding for 2 girls I went to school with.
Oh, I see. For 2 other girls, right?
It wasn't me.
You officiated
I was the
it?
flower girl.
Oh.
Oh, cute.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. Man, it's just nice. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cute to do something like that. Like, even if it's not a romantic relationship, just to like have 2 players whose characters are like very deeply intertwined before the game even starts. Like maybe they're just siblings or like childhood friends or something like that. I think it'd be cute too.
It's very fun. I will say that.
Yeah.
I've done the sibling thing and I've done the childhood friend thing, and it was like those have been my favorite characters backstory wise, just because I don't just go into them knowing them, but I know into the story knowing this other person I can easily roleplay with. All right. I'm down to keep talking, but I think we'll end the podcast shortly. To leave us off, because we're on this topic, I want everyone to name a ship they would sail for either their D&D character or a D&D character in a game they've played.
Oh,
doesn't
God.
necessarily have to be romantic, right?
No, but it has to be more so than just, maybe like what's their epilogue together.
Okay, I got one.
Okay, take us away.
But
It
here's
can
the
be
thing.
anything.
I used to ship Dante and Davy, but now I don't know. With the realization.
Oh my god.
Why not
Best
anymore?
friends.
Mom and dad.
Because I feel like Davy's, a
What?
gay.
Okay, he was never even meant to be gay to begin with. Like, I designed him, I drew his character, and you guys
Well,
are all like, "Oh my god, he's so gay."
You gave him a freaking rainbow. I think that just says a lot of things.
I think it was just really queer quoted, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
What
mostly.
about the backstory?
I see you both as, you know, those like lesbian and gay friends. Kinda,
He had, well, I guess he's bi or pan, because
man. I'm
his
not trying to deny your character's
his first lover was
sexuality.
a woman,
Mm.
and I didn't go into the game expecting to make him gay, but then Daryl, was that his name?
Yeah.
Daryl showed up.
Sometimes
I was
this
like,
happens.
oh, that happened.
That was great. I was on
That's
one thing I will say, just a quick side note. Like, if you guys had given them time to discuss with you, Daryl would have been like, I was gonna be like, okay, Daryl's gonna like, you know, reciprocate some of this. Be like, yo, we could have a nice cushy life in the capital.
That's
Oh
cute.
my god.
Gay.
Cow, go for it.
But instead, he got killed.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, old man. Silver
Yeah, we
Fox.
did murder Daryl, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
No remorse for Krag.
But yes,
I mean, he doesn't care.
That is true.
I mean, Davey can probably get like other potential lovers.
There's other fish in the sea.
I mean, literally, and also
There might be
Davey's
some on
a
the ship.
pirate. They're like, they're not known for being too monogamous.
wait, when
Use you.
Davey was on that Fey Island, did he get frisky?
Did he get frisky in the Feywild?
Yeah, because I feel like some of us
Well,
talked about it, right? They were very
yeah,
hedonistic.
Yeah, so I don't think. So here's the thing. This is what I mean with me not being able to sit down and write role playing. I just get too distracted. But I have so many ideas about the Feywild, and I even share them with Ash at
Yeah.
some point.
Those are great. That's the thing. You don't have to text RP them out. Because, Color, I will say, like, whenever we sat down to do a character interview, I've gotten so much fucking creativity from your ideas. Those are great.
Yeah, and I love like having those conversations because it allows me to actually express them instead of having to depend on my writing. And so basically, and I think I told you guys too, basically the Feywild is just like rape city. It's just like you go there and like have a shit ton of drugs and just, you know,
They're
get
free
frisky.
spirits.
Yeah, you get
Mhm.
frisky. They're party people. They don't care. There's no
Right, so they
STDs or
learned.
anything. Yeah. So I was thinking, yeah, at least for B, they definitely got very frisky in there. But there was like a also like a line of thinking where I was like, okay, but was that really? And this is a little like touchy, but was that really consensual? Because technically, B was sort of on a haste most of the time in the Feywalls, right? They were trapped and they were like going through like a not a breakup per se, but like
He was vulnerable.
they lost everything. Yeah. But I think it was kind of like also B's decision to stay in there for a while because they needed like, you know, the the party and they wanted to not be in thinking about other things, right?
It was a distraction, and he was like, yeah, let's, you know, get high and, you know, fuck a bunch of people.
Yeah. They're in the right path now. Not saying that doing that is wrong, but you know, there's only so many drugs that you can do.
Yeah. All right. So what is your ship? What's your ship, Davy and Dante?
Yeah, but that's kind of more like a friendship now.
Friendship.
More like they're my parents, but they're very much divorced.
They're divorced.
Divorced parents. That's my ship. Divorced parents.
Davy said, right? He's pan or bi, right? So it can still work.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know,
New shipping.
I don't know.
Good job.
I don't know Dance's sexuality, but I'm just telling you, and I told Vic this on the chats right now. I think B definitely was too shocked to find out that that Dante was a girl. I guess.
Be pining.
To the point, yeah. I think they're pining a little bit, but not in. But I think they're like so. I think they're still thinking, obviously, about Cordelia.
Mm.
It's just like, oh shit, they're cute, you know. We have crushes, and that's it. And but my ship, okay, definitely Hank and Susie. That's my primary ship. But that's
Oh god.
that's my own. I also like. um, I like the idea of Miley and what was your character's called?
Benny?
Benny. Yeah, Knightley and Benny.
Nightly and Benny?
Yeah. I think that would be
Okay.
cute. I mean, they're around the same age and they're like college friends, or not friends, but like classmates, right?
Yeah,
Am
I mean we were gonna do this text RP where Benny's like the stupid college jock
Oh god.
who
Nice.
flirted with Nightly, but we never got around to
Nice.
doing it.
The sports kid and the photography kid.
Accidentally hits Nightly with a football.
Yep.
Damn. All right. Who's next? Who's got a ship?
I think I'm the only one comfortable talking about this because I really can't.
Thinking, I'm like, workings.
I think
Yeah,
everyone's
we-
brainstorming. You got us all excited. We gotta think.
we joke around a lot about Koya and
Yeah.
Ken,
Ken?
but I don't know.
Kenya.
Like- Yeah,
Kenya.
but I don't. I don't personally ship, but it is cute. I'll give it that, and it is fun to like poke at it, I guess.
You
I
don't
think
personally
it's
ship,
cute.
but all that art.
Mm.
What are
Fan
they're
art.
just comrades?
Mm.
Just
History will say that they were
Books
comrades.
say.
That's what history says. They were just
Man,
comrades.
everything is gay to y'all.
Well,
that's what happens.
excuse me. Look who's speaking. Well, anyways, I was gonna say that, but then I feel like I made Saf uncomfortable with that.
No,
With
it's
them.
fine. No, it's fine. I'm completely fine with it.
Do you support Kenya?
I will neither confirm nor deny as the person who is playing the character.
Stop
You know what? I'll take that. I like that.
That is a good answer.
Yeah, that is a good answer in my book.
Mhm.
When it comes to Key, I have like no idea. I guess it's because he's kind of like a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like mentally, his mental age is like very young, so I don't really think about him with any sort of romantic connections.
Are you putting Kenya? You gotta name one.
If I have to name one, I would say Kenya because I don't know what else.
We'll take it.
I mean, there's Davy, but like the way I see Davy is like he is very quick to flirt with people, but if people start to flirt back, he'll probably like get flustered and back out.
Hmm.
So like he
I was-
doesn't actually get into relationships because of that.
I was gonna say that I feel like Davy and B, I almost forgot my character's name. They kind of had like a flirt off of sorts.
Oh, when you're sitting
Flirt
his
off.
Yeah. I feel like they're both very flirty, but they're like I don't know. I don't think they're like romantically there, nor I think like B will ever be. But I feel like if you know, and and this is out of canon, okay? Do not get mad at me, Scout. But I feel like Davy and B would just not care and just like sleep around.
A ship
They're just
fling.
having a good time.
Yeah, just like comfort.
The pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Who's going next? We still got Meg, Nora, Saf. It can be anything, and it doesn't have to be like romantic either. It can just be like, okay, these two characters would have a good friendship in the epilogue.
I did kind of like as much of a like. I feel like Saf and I joke about our Angel Light campaign that we are in being a horror story. Like one of like friendship dynamics wise, I think one of my character who is the little like gnome artificer who is like pretty young, and one of the other characters, I feel like it would have been fun to explore their dynamic more because they were both pretty like young, cheerful. Their character was a bard, and we decided that in between the one shot that we played and the actual campaign, they like traveled around together. And like Kel, my character, was gonna make them like some ridiculous flamethrower bagpipes and stuff, and they were just like a fun little like I enjoyed their interactions, even though that campaign kind of went downhill.
You know, in your hearts, they had a nice happily ever after.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the rest of my characters have been pretty like. I mean, like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be romance, but I think most of my characters have been pretty like just not like Nella definitely was. I thought of her too much as being pretty young, and also she was like very driven, and so she would not have an interest in romance. And then like my first major character, she was just like such a dork and clueless, and there's no way she would ever like she wouldn't know if someone was flirting with her.
Nice. All right, Meg, you're in the hot seat.
Not like in a romantic sense, but in like a dynamic sense. I think I really wanted to see more of like what's his face? It was in my oh my god, I can't remember.
NPC or player?
It was Dante, but I wanted to get to know B better. But like in the sense of like the because we're so much of like a foil, you know?
Yeah.
Like physically and like ideology wise. I just wanted to see like how far you could get with that.
It was really cool when like, you know, Dante came out as both a girl now instead, as well as an Asmar. Versus, you know, the Tiefling on board.
That's something that I remember mentioning to like I can be your angel or your devil. We're like both very much like on different sides of the corruption spectrum, I guess you can call it.
Oh, actually, friendship I want to see more of. I want Gan and B to have a spin-off show where they mages.
Down.
Dude, you know, like
good time.
lo-fi sad music, and I just imagine B and Gen with their backs turned away from the camera on the post, right? As like lo-fi depressing music plays.
Just with a pipe. Just like shit, man, this shit is hard.
Yeah.
Just being nihilistic, but like
oh my gosh.
They said all
like
the hours. B was just all depressed talking to Gen.
and just again like nodding along, like actively listening.
I think bird.
If we're talking about like non-romantic relationships, I think Davy and Kamiya could have been really interesting to develop further along.
I agree.
I don't know. Maybe I just have a soft spot for Kamiya. And like Davy's kind of like naive, but also like silly and gentle personality. I feel like he would have not as hard of a time like getting to Kamiya.
Kind of like a big brother. Sorts.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very much like a big brother. And when it comes to Crag, I think Cammy and Crag's like their interactions were like very fascinating to see, to be honest.
Those were cute.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah, like those
They're
felt
cute
like
but creepy at the same time. They're both like very
Yeah, it's just
creepy,
Craig talking to me.
but in the right way.
they're both like kind of outsiders in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So they have like solidarity in that sense.
I love it.
Hermits unite.
All right, Saf,
Yeah,
what
it was
you
really
got?
fun. Um, I know I talked about Kenya, but I really like. I don't know. I'm curious to see what there would be for Cordelia and Noel. Like,
Mm.
the romantic maybe, but like, just like friendship wise, because the interactions that were had were really cute.
They
They
were.
were-
I love them.
Yeah, and I just want to see what else there would be, especially since in Kin and Dread, Noelle doesn't necessarily have a reason why as to she's there. So I guess everybody, like most people besides like Key, doesn't really know. They're kind of there because they're there.
You
They're there for
guys
their own reason.
all came because Key had stuff going on basically.
Yeah,
And got
but like I want to see more of it, especially because they were established to be as friends before. I think, yeah, that's kind of what I want to see. In the episode ahead, in our Super Smash Ultimate and the next season to come, mayhaps.
No, I do agree. I really want to see where that goes, especially now because in the last session, you guys all had like personal things come up, and Noelle was one of those characters that was really fucking just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, Noelle was like so mad and just always a bundle of like, doesn't know who to trust anymore. It'd be amazing to see Cordelia step in as a way for her to like deal with it, because dealing with the fact that your brother's missing because of the guy that you had trusted for so long. I feel like you need someone to like help you through that, and it's not a self thing you can easily do by yourself.
It's so fun hearing about all the stuff going down in Kin and Dread. Like, it's a fun little story I get to hear you guys talk about.
Ken wasn't Ken?
I'm still confused by Ken.
Yeah, that's... Ken wasn't Ken
Wait.
all along.
What does
Wow.
Key know? I need to like rewatch the VOD.
Yeah.
Oh, Chrissy's been like waiting for that for so well. I've been waiting for that for so long.
Yeah, I could tell.
We have...
She did so
yeah.
well. I
That was
really like
so
her
good.
roleplay. But that
was
being
very
said,
good.
I also really, 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 really like the at least the beginning interactions. I think now currently we're not interacting as much as we did earlier on, but Cordelia's and Koya, like they're like dynamic. I feel like you wrote it so well in your little snippet.
Oh.
Like, you wrote. I just love the idea of like Cordelia being able to finally meet some semblance of her origins, even though it's really not related at all. But it was so fascinating for her to listen about like elf culture, or at least understand where Koya came from. And that was like the beginning of her interest towards him. But then it just I feel like it just developed into like a very close friendship. Eventually, like,
Yeah, I tried. I'm really glad that you enjoyed the kind of interpretation that I have.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chef's kiss.
Ash, did you say a ship that you want to see sailing?
I am not allowed to ship any character for I'm
No,
currently
you
running.
are. Don't give me that bullshit.
You have JV. You have Sadea. There's a lot more. There's stuff that you've been in that you don't have. It's not just Orzir. It doesn't have to be just Orzir.
True.
I haven't mentioned JV at all because
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, as just a personal rule, I'm not going to ship any characters I DM for, just because as a DM, I'm okay with any ships you guys want to go down, right? That's my job to, like, okay, let's fucking see what happens.
Shipping isn't necessarily something that's gonna happen. Like, I mentioned things that are definitely not gonna happen. Even Cordelia and B storyline might not happen at all.
True.
Right?
Very true, but as a DM, I always leave the option for things to happen in case, and so I'm not going to give my opinions on it.
You don't want to bias it.
Yes, right? I am down for every ship for any of the games I run for.
That's good.
It's the same way with me for JV. I don't really want. I want to leave the option open for you guys to actually do anything that you guys want to do.
You need to bring back the hot captain. I think his name was like Matthew or something.
Oh yeah, he was very attractive. I agree. The picture you used, it was like, wow.
Wait, who?
So when we left Orzir, when we left, like, oh shit, what's his name? The Furbolg.
Oh yeah.
When we left his home.
Yeah.
And then the captain who he has been training with.
Oh.
Captain
Nuts. The guard captain.
Captain Nuts. Yeah, he was kind of hot, not gonna lie.
We were talking in our server, like, oh god, he's kind of hot.
Yeah, we were all like kind of simping over here. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
There's a reason that everyone listens to. But okay. A ship to close it out. I would. I will say. This is so hard.
This is how it feels.
Hot seat.
Space safe? No, the safe space. Sorry.
Okay, so one relationship I was actually very proud of for my players, right, is there's a wizard and a monk who in PNPD, right, who made a backstory that kind of they knew each other, right? This is non-romantic, where they like had almost an uncle relationship, and they always call. We have Tess, the monk, who always calls the wizard Uncle Dave because since she was a girl, this wizard who is a high elf, right, has always looked the same, come around, and they grew up knowing that he was always like an uncle figure. Recently, Dave, the high elf wizard character, retired, and I had an amazing conversation with the monk's character afterwards, who she had started undergoing her own sort of trials into becoming a sort of champion of a goddess, and so had been slowly almost giving up her like mortal tethers to things, and that was one of the mortal tethers she had. And so it was amazing because in the roleplay moment when he was leaving and I gave the party a chance to try and convince him to stay, she chose to just like almost very like arbiter, like it is his decision to make, right? But then after I had the conversation that like she really wanted to make him stop, right? Hey, don't leave me, don't turn your back on me. She was an orphan, and so she knows what it means to not have someone behind her, and she knew her character was thinking this, but at the same time she had also taken on this other side of the champion of a goddess needs to be neutral. And when this character retired, that was also her like seeing that part of her humanity like untethered.
That is so sweet.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It was
I like
bittersweet.
to I like to like when it comes to those moments, I really enjoy when characters are able to just secretly, right?
Hmm.
People don't need to know, but secretly display their vulnerability, even though they're like portraying a very strong character and like it's just like they're supposed to be like some kind of like I don't know, like
I
I
think
don't know how to.
I know what you mean. Like I can't unsee that scene anymore without imagining that she's standing with her hands behind her, but behind her, her hands are trembling a bit, maybe.
Yeah,
Or like
yeah,
little
yeah.
things like that that shows off she's just putting on a brave face. But yeah, dynamics are great. Stories are great. Good D&D Addicts Anonymous meeting.
Very healing.
We'll never get better.
That's
Do you want to though?
That's
No.
okay.
you got to get worse before you can get better, right? But here at D&D Anonymous, we're committed to getting worse.
Amazing. This is our slogan.
All right.